Hey guys, Mike here from Lunch Money Comics. Today I'm at Comically Speaking in Reading, Massachusetts, one of my favorite stores in Massachusetts. Let's go check it out. We got toys downstairs, comics upstairs. My friend Zach, hunting with me.
Hey.
It's always good to hunt in teams, right? All right, as great as the comic books are on the first floor, downstairs is where all the toys are at, and this place is absolutely incredible. Check this out. A lot of people's childhood just in one cool store. Very cool. So I was just informed that starting next week, the first week of December, from the 4th to the 10th, they're actually having a huge store-wide sale. First couple days, 30% off. Middle 2 days, 40% off. And the last 2 days, 50% off. So pretty awesome deals if you guys are in the area. So dollar books is where it's at. There's some pretty awesome books in here if you're willing to take the time to search. Got it?
Yeah.
All right, so always a fun stop at Comically Speaking, and I got a big old stack of comic books. Let's go home and show you everything that I got. So there you go, guys. That was Comically Speaking in Reading, Massachusetts, a huge comic and collectible store. You can tell from the footage that floor space for their comic books is impressive enough, but that area downstairs, their vintage toy collection is second to none. I love going down there to browse and sort of relive my childhood. But the other thing they're known for is their legendary sales. A couple of times a year, they have a big weekend-long sale where it's 50% off everything in the store. They spend weeks setting it all up, and they just get tons of people in there having a great time. I actually did a video on one of these sales earlier this year. I had a fantastic time, got some really great books. But this time was not one of those sales. I was there with my friend Zach. We had just got off from work. It was kind of late, and they were closing soon, and we were just going to browse around and find some cheap comic books. And that's when I found out that the week after this video comes out, they're having one of their legendary sales, and it's actually going to be all week long. So it's going to be December 4th through the 10th, 2023. The first 3 days, Monday through Wednesday, is 30% off, Thursday, Friday, 40% off, and then the weekend, 50% off. And they're also doing raffles, like the more money you spend, the more raffle tickets for gift cards. Long story short, I saw a lot of comic books there that I wanted, but when I heard about the sale, I decided I'm just going to roll the dice. I'm going to hope those comic books are still there, and I'm going to go back and try to get them at a discount. So this time, I was totally happy doing it in true lunch money comics fashion, digging for comic books in the dollar bin and the really cheap stuff, and I had a really fun time doing it, guys. That's my bread and butter, and I have a nice little stack of cheap comic books that I think are pretty cool. So before I show you what they are, if you like this sort of stuff and you want to support the channel, head on down, like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram under Lunch Money Comics IG. So first, I want to show you some comic books I did not get at the store, but I got right beforehand. You saw I was there with my friend Zach. Well, Zach is not only a comic collector, he also sells on Whatnot. He sells all sorts of cool stuff, and he's always getting in new stuff and new comic books. And he knows exactly what I like. So when I picked him up, he handed me a stack of comic books, and yeah, he hit it right on the head. He knows exactly what I'm into. So I'd love to show you guys these books really quick. We have Justice League Dark number 9. This is from the 2012 series. This is a great cover too right here. It shows most of the premier members of the team. You got Constantine, Deadman, Zatanna, Black Orchid. Very cool comic book. Next up, keeping on that theme of the dark and creepy DC characters, we have DC Superstars Presents number 18. This is Deadman in The Phantom Stranger. I love this cover. You have sort of a damsel in distress right there and two of my favorite DC characters. And then, of course, I love the Spectre. And I love Neil Adams, so he got me a Spectre number 3, Neil Adams. Love this book, always love the colors on it. And Spectre number 7. I'm not sure who did this one. Kind of looks like a Murphy Anderson. If I'm wrong, correct me down in the comments. I know some of you will correct me. So these are pretty great. Awesome DC books, but that's not all. He also gave me a poster because, yeah, I love dark DC characters, but my first and true love is the X-Men. And he got me this. So this is a poster of course, Storm, my second favorite X-Men character, and certainly my favorite female superhero of all time. So awesome poster. I gotta find a great place to put it down here. So Zach, thank you so much for these. Again, you know exactly what I like. I really appreciate that. And I'm definitely gonna link down in my description to Zach's Whatnot. He didn't ask me to do that, but it's the least I can do to say thanks. So now I want to show you the books that I got at the comic store, starting with the dollar books. Now, like I said, I showed up kind of late, and I spent a lot of time kind of browsing, talking with people taking footage and essentially making a wish list for myself for the sale. And I got over to those dollar books kind of late. And you guys saw from the footage how many there are. You could spend the entire day looking through them and not see them all. So I only ended up with $5 books. But even then, guys, even the other books I'm going to show you, I only got for a few dollars each. And I'm going to tell you right now, the guys who are working there, Roger and Bob, they even knocked some money off of everything I got. So yes, I got these as dollar books, but I got them for less than that. So I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. First up, we have X-Men number 31. Excellent cover showing Psylocke and Quanon. Who is Quanon? Listen, guys, this is super complicated. I'll try to explain it really quickly. Psylocke is Betsy Braddock, an English woman. And at some point in time, she swapped bodies with a Japanese assassin named Quanon. And Quanon ends up being a superhero called Revanche, basically French for revenge. And both these characters kind of bump heads, and both of them eventually join the X-Men. Super complicated, but that's why you have an English woman in a Japanese woman's body. Crazy. So you kind of have two Psylocks. You see both of them on the cover. I believe that's the Mandarin who was behind a lot of these machinations with Psylocke. So very cool cover by Andy Kubert. Really like it. Had to get it. Next up, we have just an 80s Captain America. This is number 363. I like this cover. I believe it's the second cover of Crossbones and his second full appearance. I just think it's cool. Happy to add it to my Captain America run. Next up, this is a minor key. We have Daredevil number 258. This is the first appearance of the character Bengal. Right there. Bengal is a martial artist. I think he's an adversary with Daredevil in this book here, but he ends up becoming sort of a superhero. So first appearance, pretty neat. Here's a book I've talked about on my channel recently. This is Giant Size Annual X-Men number 9. This was one of the annuals I needed to complete my Chris Claremont run. I recently found it at an indoor flea market. But this one's higher grade than the one I bought, and this one was only $1, actually less. And I love this book. I talked about it recently. Basically, it's the X-Men in Asgard. You get a whole bunch of really cool things going on with Loki, and of course, you have Storm on the cover in this homage to Journey into Mystery, number 83, with Storm wielding her own Asgardian weapon, Stormcaster. So very cool comic right there. And finally, I got this. So this is one of these timeless Alex Ross variants that he's done over the last couple of years. He did a whole bunch of hero ones years ago, and then this past year, he did all of the villain ones. Of course, this is Apocalypse, a very notable, famous X-Men villain. And of course, I love X-Men villains, and I really like Alex Ross. So he did these special variant covers. What book is this? This is Sins of Sinister Dominion number 1 is what this is a variant of. So pretty cool. I'll add it to my other timeless variant collection. So yeah, $5 books. But like I said, even the rest of these, pretty darn cheap. I have a couple of X-Men books that are replacing reader copies from when I was a kid. We have Uncanny X-Men number 276, Jim Lee cover showing Wolverine. And the very next issue, 277, once again, Jim Lee showing Wolverine and Gambit going at it. Next up, we have Captain America 282. This one's going to get complicated. It's from 1983, and this is actually a key. It is the first appearance of this version of Nomad. Okay, this is the Jack Monroe Nomad. Now, the name Nomad was first the moniker of a superhero much earlier in the 70s, and it was Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers, there was a storyline in the early 70s. He becomes disillusioned with the United States government, drops the mantle of Captain America, and becomes the Nomad. Very short storyline when eventually he comes back and becomes Captain America, of course. Then there was another Nomad who I think gets killed off pretty quickly. And then you have the Jack Monroe character taking on the moniker of Nomad. And he ended up being this character for quite a long time, certainly all through the 90s for those of you that remember. But this isn't Jack Monroe's first appearance. No, this gets really, really complicated. So Jack Monroe was also Bucky. Let me explain. Captain America, of course, is a World War II hero. So was Bucky Barnes. And his comic books went past World War II into the 50s. However, in the 60s Silver Age, when Captain America joined the Avengers, they tell his origin story and say he was frozen at the end of World War II and Bucky was killed. We know he ends up becoming Winter Soldier, but at the time, he was dead. So because of that, because clearly now the story is that Captain America has been frozen in ice since World War II, how then was he operating in the 50s with Bucky? So they retconned it and said those were different characters that were taking on the mantle of Captain America and Bucky. And the one in the 50s was actually Jack Monroe. That's what they're going with. It was a retcon, of course, but to kind of keep that going, they end up giving Jack Monroe his own character. He becomes the third Nomad. The reason I know any of this stuff is because I collect those Marvel trading cards. There is a trading card for the Jack Monroe Nomad, so I had to have this. Also, a very cool cover. It shows one of my favorite like D-list villains, the Constrictor. Kind of a silly villain. I've always liked him. So there you go, guys. Very minor key. And then the last book is one I already own. But I tell you guys, you can get some great deals at this place. I bought this book earlier this year because of those stupid trading cards, and I spent way more for it, and this is way better condition. This is The Defenders number 28 from 1975, and this is known as the first full appearance of Starhawk. His real name is Takar O'Gord. He had a cameo appearance in the issue before this, but this is his first full appearance as Starhawk. Now, some of you may not realize it, but you've probably seen Starhawk on the MCU movies. He's basically played by Sylvester Stallone. The legendary Sly Stallone plays Takar. I don't think they ever call him Starhawk, but it's the same character, and you can kind of see, certainly in the third Guardians movie, they kind of showed these sort of yellow, like hoops over his shoulders. So this is the first full appearance of Starhawk in costume. Pretty cool book. Like I said, I got it less than this. So pretty good to add it to my first appearances collection. So all told, guys, I got all these comic books for $20, which is much less than what the sticker price for all these were. Like I said, the guys that work there, Roger and Bob, really looked out for me. So there you go, guys. Head on down to the comments and let me know which of my pickups you like the best. Actually, let's throw in Zach's comics as well. Let me know of all my comic books, which one you like the best. Also, let me know what you think of the price that I paid for all of these. And like I said, if you're in the Boston area and you want to check out the sale, I'll put some links down in the description to all the information so you can find your way there. And if you do, there's a very good chance you'll bump into me as well. That's it, guys. Keep hunting for comic books in strange and unusual places. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.